You said no. I remember it clearly, the way the word left your lips like it had been practiced, rehearsed, prepared. But the rest of you betrayed it. Your arms stayed still. Your breath hitched, not in defiance, but hesitation. And your eyes, God, your eyes, they didn't say no. They did scream for space. They lingered. They held on to me like I was the last thing tethering you to something real. You did push me away. You did run. You stood there, caught between the voice that told you to be strong, and the age that begged me to stay. And I listened. Not to the word you said, but to the thousand things you didn't. Because silence, real silence, it's not empty. It's full. Full of trembling truths you can't say out loud. And your silence that night. It was deafening. You think I don't know you. You think I can't read what you try so hard to hide. You think that just because you said the word no, I was supposed to walk away, vanish, pretend none of this ever meant anything. You gave me more than permission. You gave me pieces of yourself long before you spoke that word. You let me in. With every late night glance, with every breathless moment between our arguments, with every time you didn't leave. You stayed. And so did I. You think you're the only one who builds walls. I saw you laying bricks around your heart like it was a war zone, but you let me through anyway, didn't you? Even if just for a second. Even if you hated yourself for it. I stepped into the place. No one else had the courage to enter. And once I was there, once I saw the damage, the rawness, the truth underneath all that armor, how could you expect me to pretend it never happened? You say I did listen. But I did. I just did obey. I listened to the space between your words. I listened to the quiver in your breath when I stood too close. I listened to the way your voice faltered, the way your hands curled into fists, not because you wanted to fight me, but because you didn't trust yourself to reach for me. I've heard real fear before. I've seen it in the eyes of people who truly wanted distance. That wasn't you. You weren't afraid of me. You were afraid of what I made you feel. Afraid that I saw you too clearly. That I touched a part of you no one else had dared to touch. You were afraid because you knew I don't just want you. I understand you. And that kind of intimacy. It's terrifying. They call me obsessive. Obsessive. Like those are sins. But what is love if not possession? What is love if not the refusal to let someone walk away carrying your soul in their pocket like it never mattered? You think I stayed because I could let go. I stayed because you didn't really let me go. You tried to pretend. You tried to wear strength like a mask. But every time I turned away, you looked. Every time I stepped back, your silence screamed. You never begged with words, no, that would have made it too easy. You begged with restraint. With the way you held your breath, like letting it go might collapse the wall between us. And I felt that. I felt it. You weren't saying no to me. You were saying no to the way I made you unravel. But love is neat. It doesn't come with straight lines and quiet endings. It comes like this, like a storm you can't outwalk, like fire you can't put out. You wanted to be untouched. Untouched by feeling. Untouched by need. You wanted to be the version of yourself that never needed anyone. But then I showed up. And I didn't offer safety. I offered truth. I stripped away your lies and stood still while you broke down. I watched you become honest, if only for a flicker. And in that flicker, I saw something you can't erase. You can run. You can block me out. You can hate me for holding up the mirror, but deep down, in the part of you that still aches at night, you know. You know I was right to stay. You know I was right to look past the word and into the silence. Because your silence held more love than your mouth ever dared to speak. So now, I want to apologize for not leaving. I want to apologize for standing still while you tried to convince yourself I didn't matter. I do matter. We matter. This whatever it is between you that carved itself too deep to be erased by pride or fear. You can lie to everyone else but not to me. I felt you. I know the rhythm of your panic. I know the weight behind your stubbornness. And I know that you still think of me. Not in the daylight, no, you're too proud for that. But at night, when it's quiet, when no one's watching, that's when I live in you. That's when my name crawls back onto your tongue and you hate yourself for whispering it. You said no. But it was never a goodbye. It was a challenge. It was a dare. It was you testing if someone could finally see through you and stay anyway. And I did. I stayed. Through every cruel word. Through every cold look. Through every silence you thought would push me away. But you miscalculated something. I was never here for you. You've built this narrative where I'm the villain, the one who refused to walk away, the one who couldn't take a hint. But you forget, you never gave me a real one. You never meant for me to leave, not truly. If you had, you wouldn't have lingered in the doorway. You wouldn't have let the silence stretch like a rope between us, pulling tighter, drawing me back in. You stood there like a woman drowning in her own resistance, begging me with your stillness not to let go. And I didn't. I couldn't. Because there was more truth in that silence than in any goodbye you've ever tried to force between us. That kind of silence. It was intimate. It was pleading. It was yours and mine. A language only we understood. And I'm supposed to ignore that. And supposed to walk away from something that real. You think love should be clean. You think it should be soft, easy, predictable. But nothing about you has ever been easy. Nothing about what we are could ever be boiled down to sweet words and empty affection. What lies between us is fire, stubborn and cruel and consuming. It burns, yes. But it also purifies. And maybe that's what scares you most. That I don't just see the chaos in you, I love it. I wrap my hands around it, and I hold on like it's the last piece of something sacred. I never asked you to be simple. I never needed you to be soft. All I ever wanted was the truth. And when you said no, and stayed quiet, and your whole body trembled with the weight of what you couldn't admit, that was the truth. That was you finally letting me see what you hide from everyone else. I know you still feel me. I know you still replay those nights when your defenses dropped, and your skin melted against mine like it finally found home. You can bury those moments under 1,000 lies. You can lace your voice with bitterness and sarcasm and pretend I was just another mistake. But I know better. Because the body does lie. And neither does silence. You might never say it out loud, but you've never let me go. Not really. Not in the places that matter. Not in your chest. Not in your dreams. You carry me like a wound and a comfort, all at once. And that's exactly what I am, the only one who ever broke you and held you in the same breath. You said no because it was easier than saying yes to something that terrified you. You said no because you thought love meant surrender. And you've spent your whole life proving you don't need anyone, haven't you? Always the strong one. Always the one who leaves before being left. But I was leaving. I never planned to. And that shook you. That made you panic. Because I did play the game. I didn't chase, I claimed. I did ask, I knew. And that kind of certainty is rare. It's dangerous. Because once someone sees you that clearly, you don't get to pretend anymore. And I saw you. I still see you. And maybe that's what keeps you up at night. Maybe that's why you haven't found peace. Because even in your silence, even in your pride, there's that one voice you can't silence, mine. The one that said, over and over, I'm not going anywhere. The one that saw you broken and beautiful and still said, you are mine. The one that stayed. And you can hate me for that. You can curse my name, erase my number, destroy every trace of me, but the one thing you can't destroy is the truth. And the truth is this, You never stopped needing me. You just hated how much you did. So go ahead. Say it again if you want. Say no. Tell the world I was a mistake. Tell them I didn't listen, that I crossed lines, that I pushed too hard. But when you're alone, when the lights are off, and your hands are cold, and your mouth can't form the words, remember this. I didn't walk away. I stayed. When your silence begged me to. When your soul screamed louder than your voice ever could. When every cell in your body betrayed your pride. I stayed. Not because I didn't hear you, but because I heard all of you. The loud, the quiet, the raw, the afraid. I heard the part of you that still believes in something real. A part of you that still believes in us. And it'll keep hearing it. Every time you try to silence it, it'll be there, in the corner of your mind, in the crack of your voice when someone asks if you've ever been in love. Because you have. You were. You are. And no matter how loud you scream no, it'll always remember the night your silence begged me to stay, and how I never left. You can't erase me, no matter how hard you try. You can change your locks, block my number, delete the photos, rewrite the story so you come out clean, the brave girl who said no, and the dangerous man who didn't listen. But deep down, beneath all that smoke and self-righteous silence, you know this is over. Not really. Because I didn't force my way in. You opened the door. Maybe not with your words, maybe not even with your hands, but with your need. With that hate you carry behind your eyes when you think no one's watching. You let me.